Welcome to this tutorial for LibreOffice Calc. I got a question about using the DateDiff function for finding the elapsed time between two dates. As it turned out, this was a really good question. On my date and time lesson, I already covered how to get the elapsed time within a 24-hour period. When you want an elapsed time between two dates, the DateDiff function is a good way to go for the date part of it. It will return the years, months, and whole days between two dates. But DateDiff cannot return any time values. For the time part of it, you subtract the earlier time from the later. When you do this, you have to watch out though, because the DateDiff function does not take time into account. Here's an example. So I have a start date and an end date, start time and end time for two events. In the start and end time, I have the cells formatted for hours, minutes, seconds. You do this by selecting the cells, choose Format Cells, then under Category, choose Time. Then over in the Format window, choose the second format with hours, minutes, seconds. Over here in the Elapsed section, I have the same format for the time cell. Now, in E3 comes the formula for finding the difference between the years. Type equals DateDiff, press Enter. First parameter is the start date. Click B2, comma, end date, that'll be B3, comma, the interval. Type quote Y, unquote, for years. Press Tab. This gives us 1 year, the year difference between the two dates. In F1, type equals DateDiff, press Enter, start date, click B2, comma, end date, click B3, comma, the interval. For this I need to use YM for year month. I don't want to use M for month because it'll result in 13 months since the start date. I wanted to take the year into consideration. So, quote, YM, unquote. Press Tab. Now we got 1 year, 1 month. Now for the days. I will use YD for the interval in DateDiff. It returns the days taking the year into consideration, like YM does with the months. But because DateDiff returns whole days, I have to use an if function to determine if the start time is later than the end time. If it is, I need to subtract a day, because DateDiff returns whole days and doesn't take time into consideration. So type equals, if, press Enter, click C2, then more than, click C3, comma, DateDiff, press Enter, start date, click B2, comma, end date, click B3, comma, quote, YD, end quote. Click after the parentheses for DateDiff. Type -1. So if the start time is more than the end time, 24 hours have not yet passed, so subtract 1 day. Comma, otherwise value. Type DateDiff, press Enter, click B2, comma, click B3, comma, Now quote YD end quote. If the start time is less than the end time, return the whole day. Press tab. The time is simple. Equals, click C3, minus, click C2. Press enter. And there you have it. Elapsed time, 1 year, 1 month, 31 days, and 1 hour. If I change the earlier time to 7:40, it's now 30 days and 23 hours. So that's a way you can get the elapsed time for a period more than 24 hours. I tried to do this where I formatted the cells for date and time. And as you can see here, it can be done, but the formula for getting the days is very long. With a date-time format, you have to find if the start hours is more than the later hours, or if the hours are equal, if the start minutes are more than the end minutes, or if the start hours and start minutes are equal, if the start seconds are more than the end seconds. I won't go into detail on this. It's on the spreadsheet available at the website for this tutorial if you want to study it. But I would go with separate cells for the date and time when you're doing something like this. It's much easier. Well, hope that helps. Thanks for watching.